Alright, so hello one and all, and welcome back to another video. So today, I'm going to be talking about manga spoilers. If you haven't read the latest chapter, 262, I believe it is, then go back, read it, and come back to the video, and then we can continue. So today, I want to discuss Crimson Riot and Gigantomachia. I believe that they are the same person, or rather, Gigantomachia is a Nomufied version of Crimson Riot. So in the latest chapter we got info about all the Nomu types, and apparently there's a hierarchy to them. There's low, medium, and high. The low, medium, and high, we don't want to talk about them. They're not really important because there is a step above the high tier, which is the higher high tier, I guess. Or maybe the translation is a little wonky. But regardless, there is the top tier Nomu, and we've only seen a couple of them in the series. The only one that's been named is Hood, who, yeah, he's pretty strong. But in the recent chapters, we've been introduced to about 4 or 5 new ones, which they're technically high-end Nomus, but they're weaker because they were released a bit sooner. So that is why Mirko, the number 5 hero, is able to keep up with so many of them at once, while Endeavor struggled against Hood. But back to what they are. High-end Nomus are Nomus that are, 1, insanely powerful, and 2, they keep the personality traits of their host, because as you know, Nomus are essentially zombies. They are corpses that have been given quirks, fused and merged, edited, to become the monsters that they are. So these high-end ones keep the personality of their original host, and they also are capable of speech. And with that in mind, I think it's safe to say that Kurogori is a high-end Nomu, because we do know he is a Nomu, but he's able to talk and he seems to have his own personality traits. Hence, with the one prison scene a few chapters back, he was breaking free of the bond, or the hold, or whatever. So that's the second finished and finalized high-end Nomu that we've seen. Both of them are very different compared to the normal Nomus that we've seen throughout the series. They have their own actual physical bodies, not a weird duck-looking thing, because the beak, they look completely different from all the other Nomus. So this means that they can come in different shapes and sizes and forms. They don't have to stick to the traditional Nomu look. If Kurogori can become a giant blob of purple fire due to the traits of his original host, Oboro, with his blue, flamey looking hair in his cloud-like quirk, I'm pretty sure Crimson Riot would logically turn into Gigantomachia. He has the hardening quirk, much like Kirishima, and he's also just a very physically big character. So if it seems to enhance the traits of the host, because there's the flamey blue hair, and then there's the cloud. So his entire body becomes a flamey cloud. So it's not too much of a stretch to say that rock power, big man, becomes big rock man person. And obviously we know that Gigantomachia, he can change his size, so there's obviously more than just his hardening quirk, which would also probably explain the drastic changes in power and physical appearance. On a lesser point, both Gigantomachia and Crimson Riot both wear cloaks in public. So this makes sense due to the high-tier Nomus taking the personality traits and whatnot of the original host. Both wear cloaks, so obviously they're the same person. It's not that simple, but just the little details are there. And that's the thing, if it was just a few chapters ago, we could really only argue the physical traits, the rock-like appearance of both the characters and the big form, and that's honestly what I did. I've had this theory for a couple weeks now, and it's really, before I didn't really have much evidence, but now with the personality taking effect, there's a lot more that we can go with this, and not just about them liking capes and stuff. Now we can go deeper as to who they are as a person and what they like about certain people and what they respect and whatnot. So let's start with Gigantomachia. He's extremely loyal to All for One and now Shigaraki. For a while, Shigaraki couldn't gain the trust of Gigantomachia, but it wasn't until he stood over the villain that he conquered as a sign of victory. And that's when Gigantomachia shed a tear because of that. Now to Crimson Riot, he believes that having a manly spirit is more important than anything else. What he defines manly spirit as is essentially to have courage and determination. It's more of a state of mind than anything else. Much like their physical traits being enhanced, I believe that their personality traits have been as well. But before I go any further, I have to explain why I think that Gigantomachia is a Nomu. I feel like that might be kind of important. So much like Kurogori is a Nomu, I believe Gigantomachia is one as well. There's a lot of clues to say that because the Nomus, they're very simple-minded. Even the high-end ones, we can see Kurogori, he will listen to any command One For All gives him without any question. He has a very hard time breaking that bond. It's very similar to Gigantomachia. He will get triggered kind of easily, and he gets pretty pissed off pretty easily, but the sound of One For All's voice will calm him down instantly. It's as if he's being commanded. Gigantomachia even seems to be loyal to Dr. Ujiko, because when All For One went to prison, he was kind of left under the doctor's hands, I can only imagine. And so when the time came, he said, Gigantomachia, go and make friends with Shigaraki, essentially. So it's, again, more command-giving. But in the nature of being a high-end Nomu, he also has his own personality traits, which is the whole loyal thing. He only allows people to command him who deserve to command. Even with him having his own personality, it's all very Nomu-like, very robotic. He does exactly what people tell him to do. And even the strength, he's an insanely powerful character, it seems. I think it's safe to say that he could very well be a Nomu. And because it's very difficult to command him, that's obviously, in the eyes of the theory, it is Crimson Riot's personality shining through. Gigantomachia respects the strong and even sheds a tear for them. Meanwhile, Crimson Riot respects people with determination and courage. Their mindsets are very similar, just slightly altered versions. Here's a quote from Gigantomachia. A king must inspire dread, must be admired, must be strong. I think that having both determination and courage can lead to you being admired and strong. They almost go hand in hand. And one thing that I noticed while doing research about all these Nomus and whatnot is with Kurogori, he seems to be a more evil version of the original host. With the light blue flame, it's now a dark and evil flame. And with Gigantomachia, it's the determination and courage that Crimson Riot once believed, but then it's been turned into admiration and strength and dread. Replace dread with hope, and Gigantomachia's quote is a very hero-like thing to say. Like I said before, both physically and emotionally, they're very similar people. Physically, they're both rock-like. Even their hair is similar. And obviously, you can physically change because of the Nomification, with Kurogori being an obvious example, and probably Hood as well. And then personality-wise, they both respect and believe in the strong and powerful, the determined and the courageous. Except it's a more twisted and evil version, much like Kurogori's physical appearance. Personally, I haven't read Vigilantes. I don't know the personality of Oboro, I believe his name is. So I can't say much on that. But I don't think there's much to say with Kurogori. There's not much personality there. And I imagine it's just because he's not strong-willed enough to power through. Or maybe he's strong-willed enough to not have much of a personality. Maybe Crimson Riot isn't as strong because he lets his personality shine through in evil ways. It has been stated that Nomus are more generally taken from villains than heroes, but we do know with Kurogori that they are also taken from heroes. So I imagine the reason why they want to take it from villains is because it's easier to control them. It's easier to make them want to fight. Their villainous side is enhanced even further with the Nomification, but a hero side, a hero wouldn't want to do that. So I wonder with Kurogori, he's giving the commands and that's it. So I wonder if his silence isn't something bad, but it might be something good. But then Gigantomachia, what if Crimson Riot had something bad happen to him? We do know he did get some people killed, which then inspired his, the manly spirit mindset. But what if deep down something else happened in that moment? And eventually he maybe got manipulated by the villains and he turned into a little bit of a darker person. We really don't know. A lot of that is just speculation. Nobody knows what happens to Red Riot. We have no idea if something horrible happened to him, or if he just left the country, or if he died, became a villain. We don't know. Chances are he didn't become a villain to the public eyes, but it's still a complete mystery. So the reason how he became a Nomu and why his personality shines through so well through Gigantomachia is a bit of a question, but back to the point, they're very similar personality-wise and appearance-wise, both Gigantomachia and Red Riot. And with what we know about Nomus now and what we've seen in the past with Kurogori, I do think that Gigantomachia is the answer to what happened to Red Riot. And I think that it could also result in a really cool fight that we never would have expected. Gigantomachia versus Kirishima. In Season 4, we've seen him take the ultimate test of how strong is he, but I think Gigantomachia is that next challenge. And it's not only going to be physically straining, but also emotionally, having to fight the one you admired for all of those years and having to put him down. That's going to be a very powerful battle. But anyway, that's all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed the video, and give it a like, subscribe if you did, and I hope to see you in the next video. Goodbye.